A lot of us are sick and tired with what we see on the news, in insofar that what we consider our so-called leaders are not only just bad, they're not just corrupt, but they reach a level of depravity that is almost not comprehensible. Just look at Donald Trump and the Jeffrey Epstein situation, and how elites from both sides of the so-called aisle, politically speaking, even though what we consider the Democrats or the Republicans in America, or the Labour Party and the Conservatives, or the even Reform Party, even though it's not something that an establishment kind of a party, we are seeing that they are entrenched in this level of corruption. And you could even say in spiritual texts, in a religious text, we are living in a time of Kali Yuga, otherwise known as the Dark Ages, the Black Ages. And this is reflected in the kind of the people who are popular as well, because of course when you are living in a time where the standards are so low, when you have people like Jordan Peterson or Konstantin Kisin on constantly on or increasingly on our screens, these people who present themselves as a rational thinker, only to find out when you peel below the that surface level, really these people have very fixed ideas of what is right and wrong, which is actually the antithetical to our common sense way of thinking. I saw a video of Konstantin Kisin, where he said, you know what, Rishi Sunak, he's not English, he's he's a brown Hindu. Now, obviously, to a ethno-nationalist, to a racist, this is common sense in terms of, for them, it's a common sense argument. But when you kind of get to the crux of the issue, who actually cares what labels we put on ourselves? It's the actions that we produce in the world. Rishi Sunak is an elite, and he is, he's not really much aligned with the working class. And Konstantin Kisin, furthermore, is not aligned with the working class. He's not aligned with the bread and butter issues. He's not concerned with high taxes for the working class. He's not concerned about elites running this country. He's not concerned about Jeffrey Epstein. These people are concerned with identity politics. Even those that consider themselves anti-woke are the ones highly focused on identity. Who cares if you're brown? Who cares if your family are born Hindu? Like, this is absolute ridiculousness. And the concept of what is considered English has constantly changed throughout history. The Anglo-Saxons are not the natural indigenous people of the great British Isles. You had the Celtic people. How they were already here when the Anglo-Saxons arrived, and what we consider the royal family. They themselves are not native Brits. I mean, they come from Germany. It's a German family. So the Windsor Coburg kind of family. It's all a fabrication. And the more these constant kissing, these people who I give them the fact that these people do speak well, they communicate well, they are not shy in front of the camera, because of course these people really much want to give the impression that they're important and they have something to say, only that they're just reflecting the deepest forms of ignorance. But it really is just about superficial understanding of anything, really. They don't have any deep understanding of anything, and they don't even care about the things that they purport to care about, like free speech, or caring about, being anti-pedophilia, because these people support Jeffrey Epstein, the Epstein class. These people care and deeply support the ethno-nationalism of Israel. The Zionism. They say that they're against identity politics, even though this whole notion of creating an ethno-state in the Middle East to support only one group of people, the Jewish supremacists, the Zionists, they support them. And so, what are we doing here? We are wasting our time, and we're wasting our effort, focusing and responding to these this completely ignorant but highly verbally astute people, because you can be well spoken and or represent yourself in a certain way that appeals to people, appeals to the masses, but people are idiots. Actually, Jordan Peterson is an idiot. Now he when it comes to actually understanding realities, when he's not able to answer a simple question from Richard Dawkins about whether Jesus was born of a virgin mother. And yet these people get lots of views because, of course, they're able to present themselves. They have the facade of being intelligent, and they're constantly playing mind games. And whilst Jordan Peterson pretends to care about the Ten Commandments, it's always aligned with the establishment or the right wing, war hawk, the hegemony of power. These people are constantly in support of the hegemony of power, but they give the impression that they're anti-elite because it is what sells. It is what appeals to people. Well, I mean, I'm anti-elite. Of course, I would support somebody who's anti-elite. Only that, even like Noam Chomsky, it is disappointing to see him support, or rather, being friendly correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein. This is, again, your heroes, what you consider your heroes, you need to be prepared to let go of these people if you find out that they don't align with your innate intuition and your conscience and your common sense way of looking at the world. Anyways, I just wanted to be very clear that, our leaders, the people on the screen, they're not just bad. They are completely counter intuitive. They're completely at odds with what is deep within ourselves. What do we deeply know? But they do impress, and they are impress large proportion of the population who don't necessarily think clearly or deeply, and they're constantly the fingers are pointed somewhere else because, of course, they don't have the time to think through the real cause of the issue. The real cause of the issue of inflation. The reason why there's high crime in areas because of largely due to economic inequality, and it's just disappointing that we are not focusing on the things that matter. These people are born and bred, and rather these people is at the kind of factory that is of these right wing influencers who are there to simply point the way away from the causes of these systemic issues, and they will readily support blocking and oppressing you and suppressing your free speech, and they will be verbally say that they are against identity politics. Meanwhile, they it is a core part of their personality. They are, to a large extent, they are all Zionists, or majority of them are Zionists. So these people are not only authoritarians, they don't believe in your free speech, they don't care about truly pragmatism or meritocracy. They worship people like Elon Musk, and they are very much in support of identity politics in the form of Zionism. Every accusation is a confession. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you.